Hello, welcome to my channel, Andrea Dionisio Coloring Life. So I'm making this video because I want to test out alcohol markers for the first time, and I thought I could share with you this experience. So I bought two sets of markers, and the first one is Winsor & Newton brush markers, the pastel tones, the count of 6, and the Copic Ciao skin tone set 5+1. That is a multi-liner that comes with the set, and that is waterproof, which is very handy if you want to draw your own sketches and color them with the markers. All markers come with two different nibs, one brush nib and one broad nib. As for the book I'm testing today, this is Coloriage Wild 3, the third and newest book from Emmanuelle Colin. And if you already know the previous books of the same edition, the Coloriage Wild 1 and 2, this book just works as well with all the mediums I have tested so far, dry and wet medium. So I'm testing now for the first time with alcohol markers, so let's see how it works. Since I'm testing these markers for the first time, I will try to split this coloring into different sections so I can see exactly how they work. First of all, I'm going to use the Copics to color the skin. Then I will use only the brush markers for the hair and the flower. And later I will try to mix them both when I'll be coloring the chameleon. In this case, I'm going to start by intensifying the face contour and the shadows that are already there, because this is a grayscale illustration, so we already have the shadows. We just need to give them a little bit of color, and in some areas, as you wish, you may intensify those shadows. So I started by using the Dull Ivory color, the E43, and as you can see, I'm applying it where the shadows are, and basically I'm doing the face contour around the face, eyes, nose and mouth, and also on the neck, of course. Then I'm going to be using the Cotton Pearl, which is the E00, as the base color for our skin. In this part, I tried to use the broad tip since this is a larger area, as well to test it and to see how it works. I can tell that it needs some practice to use this chisel nib, but it might become very handy in some areas. So far I can tell that these markers blend extremely well, and they work pretty well in this paper so far, and they leave no flicking marks whatsoever. And you will see that I will use only two colors for this skin, the Dull Ivory and the Cotton Pearl. I will leave the exact names and references in the description box later. What I will do only is to blend and to layer several times these two markers to combine and to make the shadows in the right places and to build up this skin. The only thing that I will do more for this skin is to add a little blush on her cheeks later. Right now I'm trying to make some neck contouring by using the chisel nib, just to give a little more dimension to her neck and chest. For those who are not very familiar with the alcohol markers, you can see that after drying the color gets much more even, much more blended when it's dried, and also becomes much more lighter than when it is wet, still wet. So now for the lips, I used the same color as I used for the cheeks, which is the blush color, the R20. And after applying this blush color, I used again the base skin tone to blend it all together. And like it happens with other mediums, if you use different directions to apply the blending process, this blending will be much more effective. Now for the eyes, I'll be using the Brushmarkers because obviously in the skin tone set I don't have the right colors to do the eyes, so it's the only part of this face that I'll be using Brushmarkers. So for the eyeball of the eye, I'll be using the Peeble blue and the pinkish white to do the corner and the edges of the eye. And on the iris, I'll be using Cool Aqua and the Peeble blue and also a Meadow green. I also be leaving the references in the description box. And now the final part on this skin coloring. It's just a little bit of shading on the mouth with also a brush marker, which is the pink pearl. Now let's color the hair, and for this I will be using only brush markers. First of all, I will start with the top of her head. in which I will be using two different tones of pink, the rose pink and the pink pearl color. The pink pearl color will be used to the lightest parts which are most exposed to light. For the middle section of the hair, I used blue, and this is a cool aqua, and I blend it all very well with the pink pearl and a bit of rose pink as well. So the transition of both colors is very smooth. And I think the result is quite nice. Finally, I use the green in the lower parts of her hair. This is a Meadow green, the G339. And I use as well a bit of cool aqua to blend both colors. Because this is a bit of a yellowish green, I wanted to make a more deep green, so I put several layers of it as well as the blue with it. It seems to me that these markers, these brush markers by Winsor & Newton, they blend extremely well too, as well as the Copics. But since this part of the drawing is grayscale, we really can't tell how well they blend and if they really leave some wet marks, flickering marks in the paper or not. So I will try them next in the flower, and hopefully I can have a better idea of how well these markers work. Yet I added a few more shadows in the top of her head, in the upper part of the hair, with the darkest pink, to make them more deep and rich. So to color this flower, I used the brush markers as well. And I started with the Putty color, which is the 0618, to build up the center shadow of the flower. And I use as well this color for the back of the flower. Then I use a rose pink, which is the M727. And this will be the base color for this flower, and also will be used to build up some shadows and contrast. To color the edges of the flower, which will be the lightest parts, I use the pink pearl, the V718. I also use this color later to make some shadows on the back of the flower as well, when I will be using the putty color. I will also use this pink pearl. As you can see, I used the white nib on these parts as well to test them and to see how they blend and if they leave marks. And as you will be able to see next, after drying, these markers won't leave any flickering marks as well, even when using the white nib. So here I am using the putty color on the back of the flower, the 0618, which will be added later, the pink pearl to make the shadows. In here I am using the Peeble blue, the C217, to make the center shadows, and also some deep shadows in these petals. And so, as you can see here, the pink pearl to build up some more intense shadows on the back of the flower. After that, I kept repeating the process of layering colors several times. And I kept repeating this process until I get the result I intended in terms of depth and richness and contrast of the coloring throughout the whole flower. Here and there I used the putty color to make the color of the flower a little bit more rich and intense. And after that, a little bit more of Peeble blue to intensify the shadows. And some more rose pink to get more vibrant colors. Just before I finish this coloring, I would like to give you two informations. And the first one is that, as you may have noticed, this is a speed coloring, so it was recorded a little bit more faster than the normal speed, but not that fast, so it took me maybe 1.5 hours, no more than 2 hours to complete this coloring, just because I am new to this and I was very careful about this coloring for the first time with these markers. And the second one is that regarding the bleeding through with these markers, in this particular book with this paper, which is more watercolor paper, they don't bleed through at all. I wish I could have shown you in this video, but the page is completely dry on the other side, even though it is imprinted both sides. It doesn't bleeds through in this kind of paper. Now for the leaf, I used the brush markers as well, the G339 Meadow Green and the C272 Peeble Blue. The green, I used it as the base color for the leaves and the blue for the shadows. Now for the chameleon, as I mentioned before, I'm gonna be using as well as Brushmarkers and Copics to see how well they blend together. First of all, I started with the C217 Peeble blue, mostly for the rear part of the animal. Then I moved on to the pinkish white from Copic, the R00, especially for the front and under parts of the chameleon. Then I used the pale grape, also from Copic, the V91, for the back and tail, and also to build up some shadows. This is a light tone, but it can be used to darken other colors, as in this case. I'm using it just to make another layer of marker on top of what it was already, creating a very nice and soft shadow. And now for the cheeks and nose, I am using the blush, which is the R20 from Copic. So this coloring is about to be finished, and overall I really enjoyed it. Both markers, the Copic Ciao and the Winsor & Newton brush markers, they both work extremely well and they blend together very well, and yeah, I'm all for it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching, and bye bye.